Step 2, Where is the Gap? Episode 100. Are you ready to make your law firm a profit-generating machine that will free up your time and skyrocket your impact? With more than 2 decades of business growth experience and having proven that you can be successful while prioritizing your family and your impact, introducing the Profit with Law podcast. I am your host, the creator of the Firm Differentiator 10X Effect, Moshe Amsel. Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Profit with Law. I am your host, Moshe Amsel, and today is not just another episode. This is episode 100. Now, we initially talked amongst our team about doing something special for this episode. We had a bunch of ideas thrown around. The reality is that with everything going on right now, with the pandemic, the social distancing, we're simply just not getting as much time in the day as we have in the past. We're spending a lot of time with our children. I am working 4-hour days during the day, and my team we've been going from promotion to promotion really without a break, which is unusual because of opportunities that arose for us to serve our community in a bigger and better way during this time. And because of all of those factors, we simply just didn't do anything specific and special for this episode, but it doesn't mean that I don't want to celebrate. And before I go into today's topic, I just want to share with you that everything that we do in our business, it's a journey. And we should never take anything for granted. Any little win, any little success, anything that we can look back and say, wow, I am proud of where we have come, that needs to be celebrated. And today, looking back at a podcast that we started just over a year ago, and we are now releasing the 100th episode of the podcast, and I'm just proud of my team, proud of myself, and I am proud of our dedicated and devoted listeners for putting up with us bombarding you with episodes. I mean, if we reached 100 episodes in just over a year, that means that we've been averaging 2 episodes a week. And I know that at the beginning we were not doing 2 episodes a week, so the average ticked up. There were times like when we did the COVID live streams where we released an episode every single day, and that was probably overwhelming to you. But now we're back in this cadence of twice a week, and hopefully this is where it stays for the foreseeable future, at least, until we come up with another bright idea and decide to throw another curveball at you. But I just want to take this moment, episode 100. Actually, at the time I'm recording this, it's my second daughter, it's her 19th birthday, and my heart could not be fuller for the accomplishments that I have had, that she has had, watching her grow up, seeing the young lady that she has turned into it gives me validation for the work that I do. And, we're on this journey to create generational wealth. We're on this journey and I'm not talking about for me. We're talking about for other people, right? We're on this journey of helping people create generational wealth through entrepreneurship. And then once your business starts producing significant cash flow to you, what do you do with it? And how do you set yourself up so that you're changing the future of your family? And that's my mission. That's why we do what we do. And, seeing the fruits of my labor and my child, there's nothing more rewarding than that. And the podcast is nothing like a child. It's way easier. It doesn't talk back at me, but it's still fruits of our labor. It's our efforts, our sweat, equity goes into it, And just knowing that it's still around, our downloads per episode are increasing literally every single week. And we're getting amazing feedback from our listeners. And I couldn't be prouder of the product that we've created and the community that is being established around it. So if you're a dedicated listener, I want to just say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for, you're not just another number to us. You're not just another download. To us, you are another person that we have an opportunity to help change your life, help transform your future. And we appreciate you giving us the opportunity. And I keep saying we because it's not just me. I'm the guy behind the microphone, but there's a team of people that are working behind the scenes, behind me, to produce this episode, to help our guests with promoting their episodes, and just a ton of work that goes in behind the scenes. And this is just for the podcast. There's a lot of other moving parts in our business. So I don't want to take up too much of your time going down this rabbit hole, but I just want to celebrate this moment with you. This is episode 100. We will make it up to you. We will bring you the special episode that we were thinking of doing for this when we have additional bandwidth and we're able to put it together for you, because it's going to be something spectacular. So we will not hold out. We won't wait. Hopefully we won't wait till episode 200, and we'll get that out to you. But in the meantime, I am on a mission for this month to work on sharing with you the process and the nuts and bolts behind creating information products in your law practice to grow your practice, whether it's your existing client base, past clients, or whether it's a way to bring new clients in the door that wouldn't have otherwise become clients of the firm. So go back and listen to episode 96, episode 98. Here we go with the 100. We're going to continue this all the way through mid-June. So stay tuned. We have a bunch of guests coming your way as well. And on Monday, June 15th, we have our next one-day summit. And this one-day summit is going to be titled, or I don't know if it's going to be titled this because I'm still playing around with the name. I don't know if I like it, but Unlock the Hidden Revenue Stream is what I'm going with right now. Unlock the Hidden Revenue Stream, one-day summit, June 15th. Get on the wait list, profitwithlaw.com/waitlist, profitwithlaw.com/waitlist. Let us know that you want to be notified when this thing is open for registration, and we will absolutely email you and let you know that that is the case. Also, we started on Monday, May 25th. I went live with one of my clients, a attorney, Jocko Brown from A. Brown Esquire, and she is a trademark attorney, and we are going to be implementing an information product in her business. And I am going to be walking her through this process from beginning to end live with you on through live broadcasts on Facebook. So go if you want to tune in and follow along. I encourage you to do so. What you want to do is you want to go to the Profit with Law Facebook page, and I believe it's facebook.com/Profit with Law. Let me. What we'll do is we'll put the link in the show notes. But yes, it's facebook.com/Profit with Law. Go to our Facebook page and just make sure that you like the page. And there might be a way to set your notifications to be notified when we go live. But if you like the page, there's a good chance it'll show up in your feed to let you know that we went live. But we're doing this at 10 p.m. Eastern. We're trying to do it Mondays and Wednesdays. This week it happens to be that it's going to be Thursday night is the next one. But our first one was Monday night, May 25th. We went live a little bit later than 10. We were working on some tech issues on the back end with I was trying to use a software called Ecamm to do this, and the Mac computer that I was using just couldn't keep up with all the various things I was trying to do in the broadcast session. So there's a new computer in order for me, and in the meantime, I used Zoom to go live. Not a big fan of using Zoom because sometimes it just doesn't work to go live from Zoom. So I need a different solution, and I'm working on that behind the scenes. But you can go and watch the first one. You can just go on our Facebook page and you'll see it, the live broadcast from Monday, May 25th. And you know what? We'll link that up in the show notes as well. So definitely go and watch that and tune in and join us for this journey. All right. That being said, let's go into step number 2. So in episode 96, I introduced information products to you, the idea, why it's something that you absolutely need to know and implement in your law practice. There's such opportunity being left on the table by not doing this, and quite honestly, I'm shocked that it hasn't picked up faster, or that it hasn't come up on its own. And well, I'm shocked, but I'm not, because as some attorneys have told me, attorneys are a different breed. And, there's certain ways that you're trained to think. And one of those ways is not to take on risk. It's not to look in new places. Like, it's a age-old business, age-old industry that is completely by the letter of the law. Everything that you do is really dictated to you through, by the law. And obviously there's many ways to interpret it, and there's a reason why you have your job. I'm not belittling what you do, but the personality and the information that you're provided is such that you don't naturally seek something that would be perceived as different, would be perceived as risky. And that's why it's time to open your eyes and notice that times are changing, man. Times are changing. I mean, look at the various pieces of technology, platforms that are being put out there that are slowly taking over certain parts of the legal industry, certain parts of the things that you do. And when we look at that, you have to recognize that you need to differentiate yourself. You need to start figuring out a way to demonstrate how you are different, why you are different than the lawyer next door, what makes you somebody that people should go to. And one of the ways to do that is to become an educator, is to create alternative ways for people to have their needs met. It doesn't have to be that you're doing the work for them. So that's where I want to go today. Last week in step 1, we talked about defining your client's journey, and we talked about having a niche and really understanding what your client's issues are, what their problem is, what's their pain point. Today, I want to talk about, well, what do you do with that, right? What do you do once you know what their journey is? And because at the beginning, when you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I do this? How do I implement this in my firm? You got to have an idea of what is it that I'm going to create? What is it that I'm going to create, that I'm going to sell? And how does that fit in to the big picture of what I'm trying to do with my law practice? So I titled this episode Step 2, Where is the Gap? Because there is a gap somewhere in your client's journey. Now, there's a few different places that gap can exist. And what you may find is, as I'm describing it, that all 3 of these possibilities exist for you in your practice, with your practice area, with your target market. And if that's the case, great, because you're going to have 3 separate opportunities to have an information product to serve your audience. And that's a beautiful place to be in, because there's even more opportunity for you to take advantage of this. But you only need one. You only need one place to start. And that's what I want to cover today. And it's really, honestly, it's really easy. So it's probably going to be a really short episode other than my long introduction as I explain this, because once you understand the concept, I then need you to think, put your thinking cap on, and go back to your client journey and really identify, what does this look like for you? Here's the deal. When somebody needs your services, the first possibility is that there's another option for them besides for using you, and I don't mean going to a competitive attorney. What I do mean is that they have the option of doing nothing or doing something themselves instead of engaging you, instead of retaining you. So you need to look at your target market, your ideal client, and look at their journey and say, are there people who try to do this themselves, or who say, no, I'm not going to move forward because of the expense, because it's so onerous that I just cannot take this on. The cost to take this on exceeds the benefit that it's going to result in. So if one of those two things exists for you, that is the first gap that you can fill with an information product. So say and the example I used in the Facebook Live on May 25th with Ajako is a family law attorney. So say you're a family law attorney and people come in and they say, and they have a consult with you, and then they want to know, hey, can we do this ourselves? Can I get divorced by myself? Do I need an attorney? And when they ask that question, that is an opening for you to position two options in front of a potential client. Somebody who may have walked away and gone to another law firm, or decided not to pursue using an attorney and went and figured it out themselves, no thanks to you. Or you might even be already giving them information on how to do it themselves, when you recognize that there's somebody who could do it themselves, and you say, okay, I don't need to make the money off of them. I'm not going to try to push them into representation when they can do it themselves. Here's how you do it. And you start giving them instructions. Now, what if you have a course that you create that teaches somebody how to navigate the system and how to do it themselves? And obviously there's so much there, because it could be divorce, it could be child support issues, child support modifications, pursuing delinquent child support. There's a lot of stuff that you can do in there. But let's just say we're talking about divorce. We're talking about, hey, I want to do it myself. So you create a course teaching somebody how to navigate the legal system, how to fill out the paperwork, what do they need to do, what do they need to watch out for, what do they need to do if they got countersued, or if they got resistance from the other side, how do they negotiate for what they want. So you can create this comprehensive course that teaches them how to do this all themselves and essentially not need your services. And then when they ask that question, you now can give them an A or B choice. You can say, hey, look, I've got this DIY toolkit for you that is going to cost $2,500, and you can buy it and you can go out and navigate and do it yourself, or you can have us retained, and we can do these first 3 steps of the process, and it's going to cost you $10,000. You choose. Now, somebody at that point, somebody who would have probably DIY'd it anyway, is going to look at that and say, wow, for $2,500, I don't have to have a whole research project. I don't have to, I can just get this training and go through it and save that other $7,500. You're going to alleviate this job that they would have had to have to figure this out and navigate it themselves, and you're giving them an opportunity to walk away from this with these savings in the legal expense. Now, you might argue, and you might be right to some extent, is that if I offer this A/B choice and somebody wasn't thinking of doing it themselves, now they take choice A, now I've cannibalized the service that we're doing. I've cannibalized choice B. And to that, I'm going to tell you that, first of all, you could be wrong and you could be right. So we don't know what somebody would have done. But if they take option A and they would like to spend this is just an example, right? They would like to spend the $2,500 and do it themselves and save the $7,500. Were you doing the right thing by never offering this option to them and by just offering to represent them? Was that really in their best interest? Or was it the only thing you were offering because it's the only thing on your menu? And so that's one perspective that I'd like to put out there. The next perspective is, hey, look, you can get 4 people through the door. You don't have to do any work and generate the same $10,000. And you served 4 people. You have 4 happy customers, 4 happy clients, and you didn't have to do anything for them. Or you can take 1 and have to do all the work in order to generate that $10,000 of income. Obviously, it's easier to sell this DIY course than it is to do the representation. Now, don't get me wrong. You're going to get representation. You're going to get clients, because what's going to happen is first of all, a lot of people are going to choose option B because they're going to see that if you're selling a $2,500 product to teach them how to do it, there's work involved. You tell them, look, it's a 6-module course. It's 300 hours or 300 minutes of video that you need to watch and go through a workbook. And then you got to actually do the work yourself to go through the divorce process. They might look at that and start to get overwhelmed and say, oh, forget it. Just do it for me, right? I'll take option B. So that can be happening. And then another thing that can happen, and this happens a lot, is somebody buys your course and then they realize, I can't do this myself. They've gone through your material. They've started the process, but then they abandon it. They're like, okay, I've reached a wall. I've reached a point where I don't know what I'm doing and I need help. And then they're going to go and look for an attorney. But guess what? You've been in front of them teaching them. You were the one who provided them this DIY course. They are more likely, like 90% likely, to just go to you and have you continue the process for them rather than shopping around and looking for a new attorney that's different than you. So it not only does it are some people going to select option B, but some people are going to take A and then they're going to upgrade to B down the road. So no, I don't think it's going to cannibalize your sales. I don't think it's going to hurt you. I think it's only going to benefit you. And you have to figure out how you want to position it. Obviously, you could position it where you're only making the offer of product A of this course when they ask about doing it themselves. But as you go through watching me work with Ajako, and as you go through the one-day summit that we have coming up, you're going to start to see that there is a different way that this course, or whatever your information product is, but I'm using this course as an example, right? There's a number of ways that you can market the course itself and find an audience to buy it before you even have that consultation, before you even get them to come in to look at your law office. And because you're the one putting that in front of them, they're not looking for 4 different other opinions, right? They're going to buy your course, they're going to go through it, and then some of those are naturally going to upgrade and become clients of the firm. So there's it becomes a whole different animal as far as how it gets marketed and how you get new clients. So it's going to change the landscape for you and how clients come about and how this all happens. So that's the first gap, right? So I told you there's 3 different places where you might find a gap. The first one is there an either or scenario? Is there an alternative to working with me as an attorney to get their pain resolved? The second gap is, if you look at your client's journey, every problem has a solution, and every solution creates a new problem. And that happens all the time throughout life, is that when we solve one pain point, another one comes up. And you have to look at your client's journey and say, okay, their pain point right now, let's take our family law attorney. The pain point right now is, I need to get divorced. I don't know how. Help me, right? That's the current pain point. Well, what was the pain point before that got resolved, either satisfactorily or unsatisfactorily, that led to the point where they're like, okay, I need an attorney? What was the step before in that journey? Most likely it was, hey, my marriage is on the rocks. I think I might want to get divorced. How do I know if I want to get divorced? Right? You don't look for an attorney. You don't look for somebody to represent you in a divorce until you're sure that you want to get divorced. So there's a step before that, which is deciding whether divorce is what you want. So what if you can create a product that can help people with figuring out whether or not they're ready to get divorced, figuring out whether they can save their marriage, or, navigating that process of a separation, navigating that process of trying to rectify the situation and not getting it rectified. So if you look at that step before that, that's a whole other thing, right? We can create a training around navigating that part of the process, where now we identify a pain point that's earlier in the client journey. That's the gap before they need you. And you're going to solve that problem, which will then create another problem. And naturally, many of the people who go through that first product that you create, whether it be a course or a membership, many of them are going to eventually get divorced. And when they do, they're going to come to you to represent them. Okay? So that is gap number 2. Gap number 3 is, remember I said that whenever you solve a pain point, whenever you provide a solution, it creates a new problem. So the pain point was, hey, I need to get divorced. Now you're at the end, they got divorced. Solve the problem. At that point, typically, that's the end of the retainer. That, your work is done. They are now a former client, a past client, and we can close the books on it, right? Wrong. They have a new problem. They've gotten to the end of this journey. They have a new problem. That new problem might be social isolation. It might be child support issues. It might be child custody issues. It might be navigating being a single parent issues. You have to figure out what that next pain point is, but there's definitely a problem for somebody who's newly divorced that they need to solve. And if you can hone in on what that is and create a support mechanism for them, whether it be a training or whether it be a community of people or a membership of ongoing information or ongoing support in a group setting or in a public setting. All of those things can be information products. If you can create that next step, you now have something to sell your people that you would have closed the door on it. You would have said, okay, we're done, all set. Now you can go and put them into the next step and create this additional revenue from that client. So those are the 3 gaps. Gap number 1, the easiest one, is the fork in the road when they're looking for your service. Is there another option besides for retaining you? And if there is, what is that? Can we create an information product there? Gap number 2 is prior to them needing you. What is the immediate pain point before that? Create something to solve that, and boom, you've got your product and you've got your gap identified. Gap number 3 is at the end of the journey. They're done. You're ready to close the books on them. What is their new pain point? Let's solve that. And there you have it. So what I would like you to do is go back into your own law practice, look at your ideal client, make sure that you're niched down specifically, make sure that you've got that honed in. Go back to episode 96, 98, and then do the work for today. Identify what those gaps are and pick the easiest one, which is usually going to be the one right in the middle, the one that I started with. And then if not, go to the preceding problem or go to the post problem. I like the preceding problem because if you attack the gap, the third gap, if you attack the one that's after you're done with them, you're limited in your client base basically to the people that have completed service with you. Now, obviously, you could promote it publicly and get the people who have completed their service with a different law firm who now have the same pain point. So there's still a market there, and you definitely can open it up and sell it. But it just naturally is easier to find the people in the initial gap before they need you and find more of those people than clients that you need. So let's say that you need to bring on 3 or 4 new clients a month to have a decent practice. And you now have this information product on the front end. And if you can sell 20 of them a month, then you might be easily able to bring in 4 clients a month straight through that. People who are upgrading from the information product to your services. So there isn't a right answer here. It's just, I'm just giving you guidance on, where the priorities should be. But obviously it's what feels right to you. It's what feels good to you. You probably have been bothered for some time with at least one of these. I wish I could solve this for my clients, right? Or, the nagging feeling of, maybe I should be doing something to help people who want to DIY this problem themselves. So go back, look at your practice, look at how this would play out for you, how this would work for you. And it works practically in every practice area. I've spoken to PI attorneys who think that they who know that they have people come in and just want to know, hey, look, the claim is too small. It's just not worth it for an attorney to take me on. I want to do it myself. How do I do it? Perfect example there for, where there's value in an alternative solution. The only one that I think an alternative solution might not be a good idea is criminal law. But even there, depending on the severity of the crime, right? So you could be representing DUIs, but if they have something that's, lesser than that, they don't necessarily need representation. You can teach them how to navigate the system, how to get out of it. So look at yours. If you have any questions, send me an email, info@dreambuilderfinancial.com. Ask me, pick my brain, see if I can help you, or just attend our live streams that we're doing with Ajako on Monday nights and Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, and I open up at the end. I'm opening up for Q&A every single time. So if you watch it, you have questions, come by and ask those questions, and I would love to provide the answers for you. So until next time, Thursday we have an amazing interview dropping. We've got a ton of great interviews coming up. I'm really, really excited about our schedule over the next month. And thanks for sticking through this episode with me. And again, sorry it was just me as a solo, no fireworks, nothing spectacular, but really super proud of episode 100. And I'm so excited about this journey. Thank you for being on it with me. If you're new to the podcast and you enjoyed the show, hit that subscribe button, and this way you get notified every time that we have a new episode that comes down. We try to do those every Tuesday and every Thursday. Take care. Have you been enjoying the show? We sure hope so. To make sure you never miss an episode, be sure to hit the subscribe button in your podcast player app. Next week, we will be back with more valuable resources and ideas on how to break the mold and take your law firm to the next level.